share the same space.
Voices in the dark, can you hear them scream? Streaming to the living in the dream. Ghost in the static, moving with the beat. Geeks paranormal, feel the night's heartbeat. Candles flicker, screens light the haze. Driving storm in a spectral maze. From haunted halls to the digital streams, we chase the shadows, we chase the dreams. Whispers grow, machines hum, ghosts
Rise,
lights flicker.
heartbeat slows, darkness pulses.
Are you ready? Streams cut to black.
Silence holds
Only the static
in Geeks Paranormal.
in the shadows,
Investigating,
streaming,
podcasting.
forever chasing the unseen.
Whispers in the static. Flickering lights. The night is listening. Geeks Paranormal. Sin lights. Heart. Shadow know that something waits. Late night signals, the sensors hum. Geeks Paranormal, hear the spirits come. Streaming live to the curious eyes. Cameras flicker while the phantom flies. Every creak in the floor, every cold breeze is a secret the shadows whisper with ease. Protest a voice calm, but the pulse is high. Your driving pulses meet the other wordless sky. Baseline driving like footsteps in the hall. Guitar riffs wail as the shadows call. Poltergeist energy in the dance floor glow. Geeks Paranormal makes the haunted show.
Voices in the dark, can you hear them scream? Streaming to the living in the dream. Ghost in the static, moving with the beat. Geeks Paranormal, feel the night's heartbeat.
ghosts and humans share the same space.
Voices in the dark, can you hear them scream? Streaming to the living in the dream. Ghost in the static, moving with a beat. Geeks paranormal, feel the night's heartbeat. Candles flicker, screens light the haze. Triding storm in a spectral maze. From haunted halls to the digital streams, we chase the shadows, we chase the dreams. Whispers grow, machines hum, ghosts
Rise,
lights flicker.
heartbeat slows, darkness pulses.
Are you ready? Streams cut to black.
Silence holds
Only the static
in G.E.E.K.S paranormal.
in the shadows,
Investigating,
streaming,
podcasting.
forever chasing the unseen.
And action. You're supposed to say the lines.
Oh, is it? I gotta say that.
Yes.
Public service announcement. The views and opinions are the
Fuck that bullshit. They are my opinions and my guests, no one else's. Remember, this show ain't for chitlins' ears, so listening discretion and viewing discretion is advised. This is a paranormal horror crime show, so the scenes and the sounds could be a little terrifying to those little ears and those little eyeballs. And of course, there's obviously cussing. I mean, it's me. Also, please don't do anything that these stupid ass people do in this video or this podcast. This is for entertainment purposes and for you guys to listen with your ears, consume the knowledge. And now, time for the show.
Whispers in the static. Flickering lights. The night is listening. G.E.E.K.S paranormal. Shadow know that something waits. Late night signals, the sensors hum. Geeks paranormal, hear the spirits come. Streaming live to the curious eyes. Cameras flicker while the phantom fly. Poltergeist energy in the dance floor glow. Geeks paranormal makes the haunted show.
Haunted halls to the digital streams. We chase the shadows. We chase the dreams.
What is up, everybody? It is Shauna with Exploring the Paranormal Perspective and founder of Geeks Paranormal. And you can just call me Geek. a lot of people do. I have a wonderful guest on today. He's a horror Gothic author. I met him through Eric, and Eric will be on later on. But you guys have heard me talk about Eerie America and how I was working with Eric on that. And he introduced me and told me, you got to get William on. You got to get William on your show. So I messaged William, and he was gracious enough to come on the show today. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Sean, so much for having me. I'm very happy about being here.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome because we're going to talk a lot about your books. But before we go into that aspect, your journey into the Gothic horror began at like age 6 or 6 years old when you were introduced with Edgar Allan Poe's The Mask of the Red Death. How did that early exposure shape your perspective on literature and life?
I read The Mask of the Red Death when I was 6 years old, and I just became captivated and spellbound by the symbolism and allegory and illustration of Edgar Allan Poe. And a voice came up in me and said, "This is for who you are and what you're meant to do with your life." And I said, "I don't know how." And it said, "Let me show you." And I followed it from there, and I still do and always will. And from that, I fell in love with horror literature, with Gothic horror and Gothic romance, and literature and poetry and writing and theater and philosophy and mythology. And I pieced myself together into the Gothic horror, Gothic romance author and performer I am today from all that time ago. I read everything that I could. I fell in love with it, like I said. So to me, they were more than just black and white etchings on a page. They're living things. Words and poetry and literature are living things with their own life and heart and will, just like us, and their own passions and talents. So I befriended it. I fell in love with it, and it's my blood. It's in my bones. It's in everything in me.
Now, blending that horror and that erotic romance that you do, how do you kind of to our listeners that may be new to your work define that writing style?
It's a little difficult to explain the way that I have it in my soul. I know that's a little strange to say because I should be able to explain it, but it is, imagine something that's more magical to you in the world than anything else. Something that fills you with life and hope and love of life and love for life and the living soul of life. From that comes the story ideas. From that comes my passion for it. From that comes my love for it. I feel like quite a few authors may pull from external sources for inspiration, society, the relationships, what might be going on in the world, personal experiences they've had, and these are all valid things that do go into it. But with me, all of it comes from within. Like I say, I've said often to people that when I go to sleep, I go to the place where stories are from, and we talk and share ideas, and I come back with the stories and what I've learned, and then tell the stories. That's one of the best ways I can explain it.
That is absolutely amazing. Like a fairy tale.
Oh,
you,
thank
you
you.
see everything coming into
Oh,
your
thank
mind
you.
and you're like, oh, I got to write it down. It's kind of like one of the authors that is in, well, I say it's an author, but he's a music writer. And in
Oh, yeah.
Poetic says, hi, William.
Oh, hello.
But he writes music, so I can think he would understand a little bit of in the depth that you're going for on that. But that is absolutely amazing. Praise. Because how many books have you written now?
I have well, 3 books technically. The first 2 books are my Once Upon a Grave Gothic Horror Vampire series. I'm working on the third, and I have my only nonfiction book is my Empath book so far. That's my only nonfiction book, and I also write for Phantasmagoria magazine with Trevor Kennedy, and I have been published in 3 issues of that, with another one coming up, and also Spooky
Congratulations.
Isles magazine. Oh, thank you so much. Trevor is incredible, and Phantasmagoria is an unbelievable horror magazine. He has done amazing things with that. And David Saunderson with Spooky Isles magazine, also in the UK. And then, of course, my main book publisher, Darkmoon Press, with Angel and Eric and Star.
Yes. Ah, Angel, Eric, and Star. You guys, y'all will be introduced to Angel. Those that have been watching my podcast seen Angel a few years ago on my show. She was on here talking about her books. Eric, you have not met yet, but you will. He'll be coming up in 7 weeks, so y'all stay tuned. He'll be up and talking about Dark Moon Press and a lot of other stuff that he's got coming up. But you were gone from Dark Moon Press for a while, and you came back. How do you describe
Mhm.
that feeling of leaving a one company and then coming back to it after a certain amount of time?
I left for to pursue other options, and there were. It's not that I didn't find good ones. I didn't find anything that fit or something that I was very comfortable with.
Right.
So I went for self-publishing, which I have no technical knowledge of any kind. So I needed help with that. So a friend of mine helped me. With self-publishing, though, it's all of it is up to you. You don't have to answer anyone. Not that I feel like I answered anyone now,
Right.
but there's quite a few people that enjoy self-publishing because they have all the say and everything. But the thing with it is Amazon gives you your own little ISBN number. But if you go from self-publishing to a publisher, it's more difficult for them to republish or publish your book because they have to deal with that old ISBN number from Amazon versus what they're used to. But I feel so much more comfortable with a publisher, with a book publisher. It's the intimacy of the closeness, the connection with it. The ways that they help you are unbelievable and amazing, and the attention that Angel has, that Eric has, is fantastic. They involve you with every bit of what they're doing. They talk to you about every step. They make sure you not only understand, but you're okay and comfortable with everything. It's wonderful. And then the rest of it you do, which I have no problem with. I've gotten so much better at marketing than I ever was before, but I still have a lot to learn about it. But I've improved a lot and they've helped a lot. And I've come really, really far with it.
Oh, that is amazing. Now you had talked about your empath. Your oh my gosh, I can't even say it. Your empath book. You've written a book about being an empath, and so what are some of your biggest misconceptions people have about empaths, and how do you manage being sensitive to others' energies while maintaining your own emotional well-being?
Um, some people feel that a kind of mix up empath and empathy. Like an empath is a sensitive man or woman that can feel the emotions and energies of other people literally inside their own body as if it's their own. Or they can feel it from animals or places or events. Empathy is just a observation with your eyes, noticing body language or paying attention to the voice or the look on the face. And like, okay, a person's feeling this way. Versus being an empath, you literally feel what the other person's feeling on top of what you're feeling. And in the beginning, I didn't know what was going on with me. I just knew what I could do. And I didn't have any boundaries. And I was a kid, so I didn't think it was wrong to just read someone down like a grocery list.
Right.
Well, a lot of people don't like that. So eventually you have to learn to be discerning and discreet, and you can't just blurt stuff out about people. And you have to have boundaries, whether you're a creative type or not. Just by virtue of being a human being, it helps to have boundaries to
Right.
deal with your own emotional things, happiness, joy, loss, sadness, anxieties, plus other people's in the world, because as human beings, we absorb everything naturally around us, which is part of being an empath. And it really helps to have a sifter with that, like flour through a sifter, like if you're baking,
Yeah.
because it slows things down. If you have the ability to recognize, become practiced at the frequency of the energy, you can become more acquainted with how to speed it up, how to slow it down, how to maybe ignore this but focus on that, and just have it come at an easier pace for you. Because otherwise, it could backtrack and overwhelm you, and it's just easy to
Oh
get
yeah.
overwhelmed as a human being anyway. So if you have those mediators in place and those boundaries in place, that's a lot easier for you to balance yourself out while experiencing what you're feeling from a person or a group of people or a whole arena of people, which can sound overwhelming in and of itself, but it's really not, again, with like the filters you can have and shields and boundaries and stuff, make it a lot easier for health and wellness. Excuse me.
Fine. Okay, so with that, do you like feel each other's emotions? Like, say, like what we're talking right now. Can you feel the energy that I'm pushing out, or is it only when you're in like crowded uh, when you're out and about and you're near people?
A little bit. It's a little harder for me through a machine like a phone or a computer,
Hmm.
um, as opposed to like in live and in person.
Right.
Live and in person is a much easier, or like skin to skin contact. When you say hello to someone, shake their hand,
Oh
or you
yeah.
say goodbye, you put your hand on their shoulder or hug them. That's a lot easier for information to come through. But there are some things I can pick up through the machine like this through a phone. It just takes me a little longer and I need a little more time with it. But being an empath has also afforded me a lot of other fun little opportunities and abilities like being a reader. I do tarot and palm readings,
Oh,
and it helps a lot with
interesting.
that too.
That is cool. Now, your empathic ability, how does that influence your writing process? Does it help you create more emotional, resonant characters, or?
It really, really does. It helps so much with not only insight into yourself, but insight into the best way to say this, the soul of your fictional characters, because your imagination plus your intuition plus being a sensitive and the ability to not only take in and understand emotions, but to understand like the nature of them really gives you a great versatility with creating characters and what they would do, whether they're good or bad, what their motivations are, what their desires are, what their what's the word, ambitions are, or things that
Mhm.
truly drive them. You feel what they feel what you feel. It's like if you've ever heard authors interact with their characters just like we're interacting. It sounds kind of crazy, but it really isn't, because you develop a rapport with your characters, you can speak with your characters, and through that relationship, you have such an understanding of their emotional state, their emotional desires, their wellness, what they need, what they don't like. That writing the character from that is, to me, very, very easy and just comes so naturally.
Well, how does crowded conventions like book signings and stuff like that? How do you protect your energy while still connecting authentically with?
I've had a lot of time since I was a little boy to practice and to develop shields. And from a shield came like a filter, kind of like almost a grid that you see over an area or a person. And you can pick and choose or slow down or speed up what you want to feel, what you want to focus on. So it's like, if you eat too much ice cream, you get brain freeze,
Oh yeah.
or something too hot, and then you learn to kind of do it slowly. And so you have like a lot of those foods out in front of you, like, oh, I'm going to eat all of this. But you can't eat all of this, or you're going to get sick, you're going to be really uncomfortable. So you take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little bit from there, kind of wait a little bit. You learn to with your energy and your emotions, because the emotions and energy have a frequency, a resonance. And kind of like you take what is a tuning fork and hit it against something that makes a lower high resonance sound that has a feeling and energy and vibration. When you start getting used to those vibrations, you can learn how to use them so you can apply them to yourself and literally slow things down all around you, speed them up, block things out so you don't get overwhelmed in large situations like events like cons and vending events.
Oh, okay. So that
And
makes
the
a lot
rest
of
is just
sense.
practice and time.
Just time takes time to figure it all out.
Yep, just like most anything else, some people have a greater talent and do it faster, some are slower. But if you don't have a greater talent for it, it's okay. It doesn't mean anything bad. Everybody goes at their own pace.
Get it? I can see it. I'm not woo woo, so I don't get that. I
Uh-huh.
don't have that sort of. I think I do have a way of being able to just approach and talk to people because that's just my energy that I can go out and I can talk to anybody and everybody. But I think a lot of people, such as yourself and psychics and mediums and people like that, have a harder time of building that wall, especially later on in life. Now, if you've dealt with it since you were a child, like you have and Angel has, then you guys pretty much know all the ins and outs of what you need to do for yourself. But when it comes to
Mhm.
other people, like I've had so many people tell me, well, you do have an ability, you just have a wall up. And I'm like, well, the only thing I can think of is that my subconscious built that wall when I was younger because of all the stuff that was told to me in church or things like that, and I can't break it down. So I'm just here living my life through you guys, trying to find out what you guys come up with and how you guys do the walls and everything else. So that's really interesting to hear everybody's different concept of how they have to deal with things. So when you
Oh,
are,
actually, Shaw. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, actually, I'm a lot like you. I love being social. I adore it. There's many years ago, there's a few empaths I met, and they looked at me and marveled, like, how can you do what you do? And I was like, I don't understand. And they said, how can you go to malls, be in public, talk to people? Because I love it. I love being social. I love other people. I love the world. It's the connection is the most amazing thing, whether you have abilities or not, and connecting with people. And being an author and performer is just more ways to connect with people. And I love it. So as opposed to, I don't have walls so much as I've developed like many little highways, like the blood system in your veins in your body is like
Yeah.
millions of little highways. It's like that. Imagine that, and then knowing each little highway, where it goes, how far you can go, things like that. It seems like a lot to manage all at once, but when you get used to it, not at all. It's really easy, I feel.
That's cool. That's really cool. So I want to go a little bit more into your books because I want to talk about your
Mhm.
books, and I am going to probably come back and talk a little bit more about your channeling and mediumship stuff. But I want to
Mhm.
talk about your writing process and your craft. So your bio kind of mentions you write gothic, erotic, horror, and romance. What kind of unique
Mhm.
challenges arise when you're balancing horror elements with eroticism and romance?
Oh, actually, I don't write erotica.
Oh, you
Just
don't.
Gothic Horror,
Okay.
Gothic Romance. No, I'm sorry. Sorry if that was
No,
misleading.
you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. So what kind of so you do write gothic romance? Is that a word?
It might be.
So gothic horror
Gothic
and
Horror and Gothic
romance.
Romance.
How do you since it is, I mean, that can fit in with the same way if you just take out the eroticism.
Mhm.
How do you kind of build that balance of horror elements with romance?
The romance you have to look at in two ways. I've always felt that romance is more than just winded walks and candlelit dinners. It's also like imagine a field, like a lonely field at night with the moon above, and a fog and a mist starts to creep in. Your imagination will wonder what is in that mist, what is in that field that you can't see. And with the moon, it's so picturesque, it moves your soul. You find it beautiful. Your blood is compelled. You want to go into that field. You want to stand in that mist and feel what's in there. That's romanticism. Romanticism. That's romantic. When something normal has elements that inspire your imagination to where you're so moved to human passion, you're inspired to become part of it. That's romantic as well. So
Oh.
when I, when I write, the essence and the soul of these things comes so naturally to me that it comes out. And I started off writing in a lyrical, poetic style, and I still do. It's become so naturally infused how I write that I just naturally do it. It's just such a part of it. And I don't really pay attention to it much anymore. Like I don't sit and be like, okay, I'm going to do this thing, and this thing. It just naturally all flows out of me. And I write in a first person omniscient narrative voice. And I feel personally that that voice is eminently useful for Gothic horror and Gothic romance,
Oh
and
yeah.
beautifully useful for it, and lends itself to showing and telling really well. Like a common thing in in literature and in writing, being an author, you be told several times, don't show, tell, or don't tell, show. And Gothic horror and Gothic romance in the voice I write in lends itself to just to do both. And that narrative voice, that the narrative voice where you know everything that's going on and you just kind of dole it out to the reader, but you're not speaking at the reader, you're speaking directly to the reader, like you're hanging out with someone, just like we are now. And so that increases the intimacy of the story between author and reader. So you're both completely immersed in everything that's going on and happening.
Do you see it zoom in?
I did. I
It's like,
did.
whoa. So that is a very interesting. I like how you come and approach that very much so.
Oh, thank
Like,
you.
you're welcome. And like you've contributed to anthologies like Erotica and Urban Legends, correct?
Hmm.
Okay. So
I have,
go ahead.
oh, I've been in over 14 anthologies and still going. And I've been on podcasts and then the magazines, obviously, with Trevor Kennedy with Phantasmagoria and David Saunderson with Spooky Isles. And oh geez, I've written articles and essays. I completed my fifth celebrity interview recently with Mark Donovan. He was the backyard zombie in Shaun of the Dead. Mark
Nice.
is he's really cool. He's really, really cool. Actually, the most recent HorrorCon I was at, um, Dark History and HorrorCon last year, in Illinois, Eric was there and Star was there, but Angel wasn't able to be there.
Oh.
That's where I met Mark Donovan. I didn't realize who he was. I kept walking by the guy, and an author friend of mine from St. Charles pointed him out and said, "That's who he is." I'm like, "Where?" He's like, "Right over there." I'm like, "Oh my God." I just felt so dumb. I kept walking by him. I'm just oblivious.
It's
And then I
okay.
went
I was
back
that
and
way a couple of times too.
it happens. It'll probably happen to me more in the future, I'm sure, as I go to more and more cons. But
Oh yeah.
I talked to him and I apologized. I didn't want to be rude to him. He's like, "Oh, that's all right." And asked him for an interview. He was like, "Sure."
Oh, that's cool. Now, how does your approach differ when writing for an anthology versus working on your own projects?
Um, not really too much. It's about the same. Anthologies are really, really fun. They're a hell of a lot of fun. You can, they're short stories or flash fictions or short fictions. So it gives you a chance to like write something maybe that you maybe were intimidated to write before, or something you've always wanted to write, or try out something that has a smaller voice that could be a prelude to a novel you want to write later.
Okay, that makes sense. So, Gothic fiction has a rich history dating back centuries, like so long
Hmm.
ago. How do you honor those
Oh yeah.
traditions while bringing something fresh and contemporary to the genre?
By my blood and by my soul, I am a born Gothic romantic of old. And I'm a natural born performer, storyteller, and Gothic horror author. And like I said, when I read Edgar Allan Poe, it just unleashed everything that I was naturally born with, but I didn't realize I was until Poe.
Mm,
And if you have something in you that not only senses but embraces what's most magical to you in life or about life, it's very easy to have that flow. So the symbolism and allegory and illustration that I found in Edgar Allan Poe, married with a love of the macabre and horror and terror and romanticism and having an absolute love in your blood for scary things and spooky things and horrifying things and things you shouldn't deal with or shouldn't be too involved with as a human being for societal reasons or whatever. Yeah, screw that. Um, it becomes very easy to write it for the sheer absolute love of it. Like Mary Shelley, I love being in cemeteries. I love being in graveyards.
mm,
It's not that like, oh yay, death people dying is great. No, it's not. It's the love of the aesthetic of the place. It's the
yeah,
stillness and the silence and the beauty of the history and everything there and everything it represents.
yeah.
That's why cemeteries are beautiful. It's why graveyards are beautiful. The night itself. When I was a little boy, I was scared of the dark, like a lot of people were. I got tired of it. So I sat up in my bed one night with my fists balled and I was like, come on, come on. I was going to fight whatever was in there. I mean, I just realized I'm a little kid. I would lose.
Mm.
I'm going to die, but I don't care. I'm going to fight. And nothing came out at me. And I realized I started to stop being afraid of it. And everything around me felt like a comfort and an inspiration. And I was like, I'm not afraid of this. This is wonderful. And it became like a friend. And then it became something I fell in love with because I knew it was something that would never, ever hurt me, judge me, tell me anything bad, say anything bad, nothing like that. And it was always there for me. And that was incorporated into my writing, the soul of it, the experience of it. And the cool thing, one of the cool things about Gothic horror and Gothic romance is the background can be a character. It can symbolically be a living thing, a crumbling mansion, a spooky graveyard, a misty moonlit scene. Any of that can become a character, and that helps you promote the dread and create an atmosphere of decay. Or if you're going for a more psychological story, a depressive, isolative, or even grotesque feeling. Like a grotesquerie could be something evil in someone's nature.
Yeah.
But Gothic horror and Gothic romance comes with the elements of horror. I'm sorry, horror, terror, romanticism, obviously, but the mysterious, the grotesque, and the desolate. I love personally the themes of love, true love, death, the supernatural, and the elements of nature. There's so much to do with that. So the way that I honor it is not just with my birth, my heart, my soul, but my absolute adoration and love and being in love with horror, terror, romanticism, the macabre. Vampires are my absolute favorite supernatural, and such an incredible, rich, juicy theme of Gothic horror and Gothic romance. There's so much you can do with them, so much. And I adore Edgar Allan Poe, Mary Shelley, Bram Stoker. Um, a lot of people feel that Gothic horror started with the Castle of Otranto, with Horace Walpole. But a friend of mine had a suggestion, and I looked into it. Um, oh, I lost my train of thought. Turned me on to what are called the graveyard poets, who were four poets that were mainly clergy who came before the Gothic Romantic period ever got started. And they wrote about death and worms and decay and graveyards and morality and mortality. And I can't remember all four of their names, but they're wonderful, wonderful poets.
Oh, I'll have to look
And
that up.
their elements became the foundation that became the Gothic Romantic period.
So what do you think about these cemeteries now that won't put headstones up? I think it's so sad because I
I think it
love
is too, because
headstones.
there should be a marker. And in the Victorian period, headstones were not only a reminder of remembrance of someone you loved, but depending on the symbol on the headstone, it would tell you not only if it was a child or the wife of or sister of or brother or mother of, but a little bit about their character. It would tell you if they were ascending to heaven. It would tell you if they had an unfinished life. Like, for example, a headstone with a period means like a sudden death, or means they had something unfinished that they were doing. A hand holding a torch was something very uplifting, something very inspiring. There was something about them or something they did or contributed to their life that inspired others for society. And there's urns and there's a lot of other objects, but it was just an added extra something about who they were and what their life was like. So yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. It is sad.
It's extremely sad. I love going to some of these, especially here in Oklahoma. There's some headstones and some cemeteries that are really old that have like the marble headstones, and then you have some that just have the little placard in the ground. And it's like it's not the
Hmm.
same. It's not the same as it is when you have a marble headstone up, or even just a plain concrete headstone up, notating of who that person was in life. So I totally agree with you on that. It is kind of sad that they're taking that away nowadays just to save space, so to speak.
There,
But
oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. I was just saying, but
There's,
that's what they're doing.
I know. Are they doing that at every cemetery?
Not that I know. I know more recent cemeteries there are. I know when my Oma was buried. Let's see, my Opa was buried back in 2007, and she died. I want to say in 2010. But they were just putting
I'm
like
very sorry.
the small. Oh, it's all right. It's been a long time ago. Gosh, I can't believe it's been that long. But it was just a little simple plaque in the ground, pretty much for what they have because they want to save space. And then I have the one that my mamaw was buried at. They have big, huge headstones and marble headstones depicting on who they are and what they did in life and stuff like that. So very interesting when you do come by because we went to one in Jefferson City. Is it Jefferson City, Missouri?
Hmm.
that had huge
Sorry about the noise.
headstones. Oh no, you're fine. Had huge headstones and had the little symbolisms of like a hand pointing up or an angel or stuff like that, or the Masonic symbol and stuff like that. So whenever you do see those, it's very interesting because you research it and you find out, oh, that's what that symbol means. So whenever they put it on
Oh
here,
yeah,
that's what it's for. And that's what I find interesting about the headstones and about the cemeteries, is because it is peaceful there. You do see a lot of stuff. And it's sad when you come across children and babies that are
very
in
much
there.
so.
But you also see some of them that lived a long life, and like, man, I wonder what they saw when they were alive and what they went through.
Oh yeah.
It is very, very interesting. And beyond your writing capabilities, do you write a lot of the paranormal aspects into your writing as well, instead aside from just the Gothic lore? Like, do you do like
I
for
do.
your empathic stuff and things like that?
I haven't really made any empath characters, but I am about to. I have a sorry about that, just a second ago. I have lymphedema in my legs, and I have protectives that I
Oh,
wear on my legs to protect the skin. So I was pulling those up.
oh no, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. Um, I haven't written a full-on empathic character yet, but I'm going to. I have a medium series that I'm writing for Darkman Press after I finish my the last book in my Once Upon a Grave Gothic Horror Vampire series. I'm gonna write my medium series, and I'm gonna put a great deal of all of my abilities into the main character and into some other characters. And I have a society called the Willow Tree Society that I created for the series, which I'm not going to say
Oh,
too much about, but willow trees will appear on etched into headstones and tombstones. And the willow tree is my favorite tree of any other
it is a
kind, and
beautiful
it has so
tree.
much to do. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. When I was a little boy, I would sit under one at a play area and tell other little kids stories. I That
Wow.
tree is so much to do with my soul. I love it, and they represent resurrection and long life and everlasting life and reincarnation and the ability to bend and never break and wisdom, and there's so much more about them,
Why do they call
but
them
I'm
weeping
including all.
willows?
They represent sadness and sorrow. They can, but there's a strength in that sadness and sorrow to know that even though something is bad or tragic, it's not always going to last, and you can get through it. You can have the strength and the foundation to endure and the will to get through anything. So even though it's normal and fine to experience sadness, you can overcome it, you can move past it. It doesn't have to be where you stay or sit inside yourself.
That's awesome. I love how you describe that. That's great. So,
Oh,
how
thank
do
you.
you're welcome. How do you handle the skeptics out there who question your abilities or the paranormal topics you explore in your work?
Not everybody is going to agree with you or believe in you or believe what you say, which is fine. No one has to. But it's best to handle that in like the most decent ways. Like you don't have to pick at them or be awful to them or anything like that. You can just merely have a conversation. And if they don't believe, then they don't believe. It's okay. But having these abilities are, well, let me back up. A common thing I used to do is to tell people, if you allow me to read you a little bit and I tell you something that there's no earthly way that I can know at all, would you be more open? And they'll either say yes or no. And if they say no, it's fine. But having these abilities is just like having blood in your body, breath in your body, the trees existing, the air existing, the water. So to me, it's like saying, I don't believe in air, I don't believe in trees. And it's like, well, it doesn't need your belief in it to exist.
Right.
Um, and I don't mean that to be like a snarky thing or anything like that.
Right.
It's just for me, it's just a matter of fact statement. But it is okay if someone isn't on board with you. It is okay if someone doesn't believe in it. Not everybody will. But there are people that don't believe that they're going to be like decent to you, or even if they're awful or mean to you, it's still okay. It doesn't give you right to be awful to them or anything. It's
Exactly.
just an exchange of ideas. And some people will be receptive, some people won't. And if they're not, like I said, it's okay.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. I wish more people thought about that in the world today. So, what is your most profound spiritual or paranormal lesson you've learned that you wish more people understood?
Ooh, so many. Um, the fundamental simplicity of wisdom, of human wisdom, I would say, is one. There's a friend of mine that I've known for over 20 years, and she will say things that have such a great weight with it, and they come from her abilities. But she'll just make a simple statement. Like, for example, one thing she told me is, you don't have to live like you're bracing for impact. And it hit me like an anvil.
Wow.
It hit me and like an anvil and went to the core of me, almost like a semi truck, down to every last bit and shred of core. It's like, she's right. She's absolutely right. Because having these abilities don't fix any human flaws. They don't, if you have anxiety, if you have depression, if you're struggling with things, it doesn't take it away from you. However, depending on what abilities you have, like say if you're a sensitive like me in that category, it can give you a much stronger understanding of where those things come from, of why you might have anxiety, of what caused it, of where it stems from, of the nature of it for you. Because obviously it's very case by case for people, but it can give you extra insight and awareness. And that insight and awareness can help you along the way to balancing yourself out or living a better life with it. When I was a little boy, all these abilities started because I was laying on what I call my thinking hill, and I would think a lot about life. And my mother passed away when I was 2 years old. I didn't find out till I was 6, and that ran through the core of me and
Oh,
took me a long time to come to terms with in a good way. But I know all of her abilities are my abilities. She put everything she had into me. I know she had abilities too. I keenly feel it. That's the best way I can say. But that hill, one day I felt another heartbeat under me, other than my own, like two. It was coming from the ground. And then this energy that started going up like this over and over. And it had like
Ahoy! Ads be running. Drop a sub if you
the
fancy
best to say
keeping
this,
this
like something
ghost
that
ship
has weight
afloat
to
and
it,
spooky
but
tales
it's
flow
not
in.
heavy,
Every bit
but it's
helps our
flowing through
paranormal
you.
voyage.
Like a large circle just keeps doing it into you, into the air, over, down the earth, into you again. After that, all my abilities started. And
oh
from
wow.
that, it was wonderful. That's just one of many experiences. And but that's one of the most profound that come out my origin with it. And I feel personally that these abilities exist for two reasons: to live a richer, fuller life and connect with people.
Oh yeah.
It's the person's choice to help people with it. For the sake of humanity, it's best to. But you can make the offer, but these abilities don't give you the right to like push with it. If someone doesn't want the help, it's okay. You can see and experience all this stuff and it's fine. But you have to have the boundaries within yourself, which can be hard, especially if it's a close friend, someone you love. If they say no, they say no. You have to learn to be good with that. Because having these abilities doesn't mean you get to go invade someone's privacy inside themselves or kicking your big feet around in them where it's not wanted. Even though they're your friend, you still have to respect a person's inner privacy. So knowing that these abilities, hey, you can see into people and have a sight, and that, okay, that's wonderful, it's cool. You got to respect what someone feels. You got to respect their inner boundaries and their inner peace and their sense of self. If you don't, it's going to go really, really bad. So it's best just to offer. If they're not into it, cool. You wait, you support them. Maybe they'll be open to it in the future. Maybe they're not. But if they're not, it's no big deal. It's no bad reflection on anybody. You just continue on.
Oh yes, that is a good way of looking at it. Now, with the abilities that you
Okay.
have, um, how do these abilities kind of manifest for you on a daily basis? And are there any kind of particular symbols or patterns that you've learned to recognize over time?
Um, in my own life,
Mm,
big time. Outside of myself, there's a lot of potents, oh, not potents, portents and omens, like for example, spiritual animals.
right.
I have quite a bit. There's the rabbit, the deer, the fox, crow, ravens, coyotes, dolphins, wolves, bats, all have a certain symbolism and meaning, like the adage of if a sparrow or starling flies into your house, it means someone's going to die, or potential for it. It doesn't necessarily guarantee it, but it's important and an omen that came out of intuition, that came from folklore, that came from old practices, that came from inner direct knowledge of people living close to nature. And the closer you live to nature, the more things you're going to be able to see, the more you're going to be able to aware of. So with your question about patterns, the closer you are to a natural source, the more patterns you're going to be able to see. They could come in dreams, they could come in natural energies or feelings, they could come in signs that you see, like a river that flows a certain way, or a certain phase of the moon that looks a certain way with a with a red ring around it, or animals that won't go near a certain spot. It could look like anything or be from any source. With me, I've noticed patterns that you're naturally meant to have will make your life easier. Like if you're going with your grain, things are a lot easier. You're going against your grain and doing something you're not supposed to be doing, it gets more difficult. It gets harder. But the lessons can be hard or difficult. But it's another thing I've definitely noticed. It's not up to you about whether they're hard or difficult. It just kind of happens, and it's up to you to interpret or decipher or accept or not accept. But not accepting really makes things a lot harder, I found.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh my gosh, like if this is how it's gonna be, and you're like, no, I'm putting my foot down.
Yeah.
You're fighting against the grain on that, as you said. So
Hmm.
I could totally see where the difficulty can come in on that. Oh my goodness, yes, especially when it comes to something you don't want to see, and you have to push forward regardless of whether or not you want to or not, because it's life.
Hmm.
Life, life puts you in directions you don't really see yourself going into, and then you have to overcome those and come out with a positive outlook on it. Look at the positive sides of things. What I like to tell a lot of
Yeah.
people: look at the positive, look at the aspect of
Positive is
what's.
everything.
Exactly. Now, has your site ever revealed something that dramatically changed your life path or writing career?
Yes. When I was a little boy, I saw that there was going to be, which is here now, a great Renaissance and a second Gothic Romantic period. And in fact, it's the subject of my first article in Phantasmagoria magazine, that there is going to be a great renewal in human thought, consciousness, what it means to be human, how the arts relate to be human, human capability, human imagination. Um, Insights into how important the moment is, because the moment is filled with infinite hopes and infinite possibilities, and a return to all the things that are necessary for the human soul, plus the resurgence in Gothic horror and Gothic romantic literature, specifically that in horror literature, in Gothic horror and Gothic romance, and like I was saying, love of the macabre, love of horror, terror, romanticism, love of vampires, love of the supernatural. There is a magic to it, just like in the 1980s, there was a magic to the horror movies back then. No one was doing anything like that, and you could tell and feel just by watching the movies how much fun the directors and actors had making these movies. It's like little kids getting them together and be like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this.
Yeah.
That feeling is brought back now in the Renaissance and the Gothic Romantic period that's here. And there is so much of a resurgence, not only in horror, but a renewed sense in Gothic horror and Gothic romance. If you notice the movies that are coming out, a lot of the books that are being published, a lot of the nature of horror that's being talked about what Gothic horror and Gothic romantic literature, not only why the draw of it's important, but what it can do, how it feeds the soul, how it helps. Things that inspire the imagination, nourish the spirit, and feed the soul are all what this new era is about. And it's important for it to come back. So it's come back to the world. I saw that when I was a little boy. So I geared myself toward it with my author career.
Amazing. Speaking of your
Oh, thank you.
gothic author career and everything like that, let's talk cryptids. What is your favorite
Oh, I love
cryptid?
them. Bigfoot, Bigfoot,
Bigfoot? Why?
absolute. Oh
Have you
man,
ever
there's so
seen
many
one?
reasons. No, I want to so bad, Shaw. I want to so bad.
There are so
I've,
many of them out there that talk
I
about it. I
know.
do too. Like I've never gone Sasquatch hunting, but I would love to go just to experience
Me
well,
too.
the feel and see, because a lot of them talk about the sounds they make and what they go through.
Yeah.
Now, do you kind of believe that Bigfoot is kind of in between the veil, or you think he can use the veil to a certain thing, or do you think he's alien?
Um, the alien thing, I'm not too embracing of, but the veil thing, I'm not sure because this, whatever it is, it has to be more than something earthly. The mystique of it, the grandeur of the thing, the size of it, not only in physicality, in direct meaning, but the size of the impact it's had on people's lives and the world in general and society in general. There are places that there are, I can't remember the cities or the towns, but there are laws against hunting a Bigfoot. There are laws against going out into the woods specifically with a purpose to hunt and kill one. Like I said, I can't remember the cities, but it's so important to human beings and it's so important to human culture. And there's a lot of stories, like I'm sure you've heard, of course, some are violent, some are peaceful.
Yeah.
They're really curious. There's people have seen baby ones, people have seen teenage ones, people have seen like full grown things. Missouri in the 70s, the state I live in had Momo,
Ah,
which was a large, hairy, red-eyed Bigfoot type creature. Scared the hell out of people for months, and then just it disappears as soon as it appeared. But everything about I enjoy hearing the stories about what it might be,
mm,
whether it's an alien or whether you were saying about the veil. Interesting thing you bring up about the veil because there's a lot of talk about how Bigfoots love to hang out in abandoned graveyards, abandoned
mhm.
cemeteries, almost to the point of defending them against like people walking in, they get too close. They make that hulking, horrible, terrifying sound, and people are like,
Yeah.
nope, nope,
Nope, not going in there. Nope. Yeah.
not even a second. Nah. What's your favorite?
Oh gosh, I think the fairies might be one of my favorites because they're not as innocent
Oh,
as a lot of people want to make them out to be. They are evil little creatures.
a lot of them, yeah, they are incredible. I loved
Yeah.
all the stories and the folklore, and actually for Spooky Isles magazine, I have 5 articles coming up on some of the Dark Fae of Scotland.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm gonna
Oh
have to
yeah,
keep my eye
there
out
are
for
a
that
lot of
one.
them.
Like,
There are a lot of them.
a lot of people want to sit there and say that a lot of the Fae came from Ireland and Scotland. A lot of people say there's a lot of Fae here in the States. Do you think and do you
Hmm.
believe that a lot of the Fae moved from Ireland and Scotland to all over the around the world, or do you believe that each part of the world has their own distinct version?
I think both are true because as far as the moving part, when a lot of the Irish and German and French, etc., came and settled here, they brought their beliefs, they brought their folklore, they brought everything. And everything that originated naturally in the UK and Scotland and Ireland is more than folklore. For for us, it's so very natural to have ghosts. For them, the Fae are as natural as ghosts are to us. So they brought them over. And to back that up, because I love this particular story, in New Orleans, the French brought the Rougarou, which is or
Rougarou.
Rougarou or Lougarou. I may be messing up that up, but it's the swamp Cajun version of a werewolf that came from outside sources.
Oh, the
So
werewolf.
I
Oh my
believe
gosh.
that's
That is
another cool
another
creature.
very interesting creature because a lot of people I like to say this a lot. Any kind of myth and legend that has been out there, urban legend, whatever, has to have come from some kind
Hmm.
of truth source. Some kind of truth source.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because why back in the day did they have vampire kids, wolf kids? Why did they
Hmm.
have all these if they didn't believe that something like this happened or they didn't see it for themselves? Because
Hmm.
there's got to have been some kind of something. I mean, even here in the States, still today, there's vampire um not covens. What is it called? Is it a coven?
I think some are called covens.
Yeah.
I think some of them are.
So there's still some of
There.
those out there that believe wholeheartedly they are vampires. Well, you have Saint
Oh
Germain
yeah.
in
Yeah, in New
Louisiana.
Orleans.
That
Uh-huh.
they had a picture of this one guy next to Saint Germain's picture back in the day, and he looked just like Saint Germain 40 years
Yeah.
later. And it was like,
Uh-huh.
well, how do they stay out of the sight nowadays? Because there's cameras everywhere anymore.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, do you think they kind of stick to their own like region of the world now, or do you think they just change their looks like we do with different color hair and styles and everything?
I would think if there truly are vampires, I would think that they're a lot like human beings. Like some human beings are good, some human beings are bad,
Oh yeah,
some human beings are really great at disguise, deception, evading. Like, well, a lot of human beings are, for example, very introverted.
yeah,
So they'll like stay in their homes a lot. They'll stay away from public sight. And they do it so easily, people just overlook it. Like, oh, okay, they're just introverted. And they don't investigate it any further. I feel very strongly that if there truly are vampires and if they really are like they are in fiction books, they're very, very well skilled at being introverted, at maneuvering and navigating around society, at like magicians use misdirection on stage.
yeah.
I would imagine they're
Look at
incredibly
this
well
hand
skilled and
while this
talented.
hand is doing something else.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd
exactly.
imagine that that's how they would do it.
I would think the werewolves creatures would be around the same thing. I mean, look at Bigfoot. It's like I
Oh
was
yeah.
telling somebody in a panel, because there is a convention that goes on in Caney every year, and we have
Hmm.
panels that we go to and are on. And on the Bigfoot panel,
Oh,
I explicitly express if a octopus can change their shape and change their look, why wouldn't these other creatures that we mentioned not be able to do the same thing? What if Bigfoot has that ability to be able to camouflage themselves to blend into the area so people can't find them? They think they ran off, but
hmm.
what if they're camouflaged into the area to look like part of that tree or part of that brush over there? And you just don't realize they're still there. They're just camouflaging themselves to hide themselves from.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I mean, cryptids are a big thing, like Dogman and Mothman and the Pukwudgies and everything else. You got to sit there and think out there somewhere. I mean, even when you have Native Americans talking about Bigfoot and fairies and stuff
Hmm.
like that, you've got to come to think that these stories have been passed down from generation to generation. Now, maybe it's
Oh
like the
yeah.
whisper effect where one person whispers in one ear and all the way down the line, and they
Hmm.
may get a little bit convoluted and stuff, but there's got to be a little bit of truth in that somewhere to show.
Yeah, there's so much as human beings that we don't know. And we're very used to our society, but that isn't everything. That isn't the world. A lot of people feel it is.
Yeah.
But and I mean, like again, when we were talking about having abilities and being insensitive, not everybody has to believe, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But there has, just like as large as the universe, there's got to be something out there. There has got to be something to it. Because like you just said, as old as this information is, quite a few of these things go back
Yeah.
centuries and eons. The ideas of these things, it had to come from somewhere. I completely agree.
Yeah, it had to have. It's just amazing, especially the vampires, because I was interested in vampires
Oh,
when I was younger, and I love
uh-huh.
vampires. The vampiric lore,
Me
the
too.
werewolf lore, it's like so, what's the word? Attractive to a lot of
Yep.
people's way of thinking. Like, who wouldn't want to live I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want to live forever. I get it. I get it. But who wouldn't want to live forever to see their family and make sure they're taken care of, even generations on down the road? But that's just me being a caregiver and wanting to take care of my family. What about others out there that want to maintain their beauty, so to speak, or just maintain their way of life to be able to continue on and see how the world evolves over the years? I mean, think about if there were vampires
Mhm.
back in the Renaissance area, what are they thinking right now with all this technology and everything going on, you know? It's just, to me, it's an attractive way of looking at life and death. I mean, as a
It always has
ghost.
been for me.
Even as spirits. I mean, there was a doctor, and I cannot think of this doctor's name to save my life, and I say this almost on every show, but there is a doctor out there that proved our essence and our energy goes out into the universe and says,
Yeah,
there's got to be an afterlife somewhere, because where did this energy go?
exactly.
So
And
it
like
is.
energy can't be, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
energy can't be destroyed ever.
Mm,
So yeah, the idea of it has to go somewhere, or it renews its cycles, it becomes this thing or that thing, but it's got to do something. It can't just sit there idle. Nature doesn't just sit idle.
mm. It never does. Never does. So we're closing in on the hour. I don't want to keep you longer than necessary, but I do have a few more questions if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
So what are you currently working on? Any new book projects our listeners should watch out for, or any kind of magazine articles that you're going to be writing? Finishing?
Oh, I have lots of stuff coming up. I believe in the next issue or the one after that for Phantasmagoria, I have my second Victorian Gothic horror story called Madam Hunt's Graveyard Chronicle coming out. And then I have the articles, the 5 articles about the Dark Fae of Scotland for Spooky Oz magazine. And after that, I'm doing a Frankenstein project. And then the last book in my vampire series and then my medium series. And this fall for spooky season with Darkwind Press, I am bringing back the Victorian Penny Dreadfuls in an anthology of my own creation. And Angel and Eric are publishing them. I am currently looking for more authors for it. I've got quite a few thus far, but I'm nowhere near done gathering authors for it. And the only requirements are that it has to be in the Victorian period, and it doesn't have to
Ah,
take place in the UK. In America, there's a friend of mine that is writing a Western Victorian story because the Western era in America happened at the exact same time as the Victorian period because a lot of women back then were ordering fashions from Victorian England. That was just part of the influence. But another great influence of the Wild West was tall tales and storytelling, which marries so beautifully with Gothic horror and Gothic romance.
yes.
So the versatility of the anthology is amazing. But like I said, it has to stay in the Victorian period, which is 1831 to, I believe, 1907, 1901 to 1907. So anything in that period and anywhere in the UK, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and America. Because again, too, Edgar Allan Poe was American, and Edgar Allan Poe
Yep.
is like the premier Gothic horror, Gothic romance
Yep.
author.
He
Um,
was amazing.
he is unbelievable. He will always be my absolute true literary love. I consider him my literary father.
He
Because
was
my
absolutely phenomenal.
oh, he's amazing. He's completely amazing. And then I have, oh, let's see. I have a book signing, my first major book signing at Barnes and Noble coming up May 30th, from 1 to
Congrats.
4. Oh, thank you. At Barnes and Noble, West County in, oh, I believe it's in Maryland Heights, Missouri. Um, but it's May 30th, Barnes and Noble, West County from 1 to 4. And it's for my vampire series. The first 2 books of my vampire series, which Angel put into one book, which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Um, and I'm working on the last one currently. And oh, let's see. Um, With my performing career, there's not a whole lot of stuff that I can talk about, only to say that I have a connection with Erie America. It's a connection I cannot talk about yet because Eric hasn't given me the green light to do that,
Yep.
but I have a connection to it.
Oh, that's amazing. I cannot wait to talk to him more
Oh,
about
thank
that
you.
on here. You're welcome.
Oh, I
Hey.
know. I'm so eager to talk about that, but I
Now,
can't.
you talked about a little bit about your channeling and mediumship. You're still
Hmm.
developing your skills on those. What's the distinction
Hmm.
between these two abilities in your experience, and which came more naturally?
Um, I realize I've always been a medium, but I, being a channel developed in me first. And I always wondered myself, is there a connection between being a channel and a medium? And the answer is yes. At least as far as for me, the answer is yes. Because if you're a channel, it's like you're a spiritual radio. Um, you don't always have control of the knob until you get to learn your skill with it. Their spirits and ghosts can kind of take you over, run you around, kind of drive the car, so to speak. But you learn to be able to not have them do that so much. Again, boundaries, because you have the right to say, hey, look, I don't invite you into my body. I don't want you to occupy me. You can stand up for yourself and say, hey, I don't want that going on, but I'm happy to communicate with you if you want. And just like people, these things are not always good. There's good ones and bad ones. And there's animal spirits as well. But it has a lot to do, again, like for me, most of the abilities to all of them have everything to do with frequency and vibration and resonance. If you learn these things and can practice these things, especially for the way that they come to you naturally, there's a great deal you can learn and to have skill in with being a channel or a medium or having the sight or whatever it is, astral projection, um, giving readings, dowsing rods, being a paranormal investigator, it applies to me universally, like down the board. But a channel is one step for me, as I understand it for myself, my abilities, to being a medium, and they go hand in hand. One is just another progressive part of the other, but the difference is the channel is you tune to the right frequency to talk, to connect, to have a keen awareness of what's out there. A medium goes further, and you can literally invite them into you like a channel, like you're inviting someone into your house to hang out for a while, to talk with, to chat with. But being a medium also means, at least for me, you exist in and out all the time, every day. And what I mean by in and out is the physical world and the other world. You have a connection to it, a balance to it that sometimes you're not always aware of, and you have to figure out with being a channel and medium, more so with a medium. But it means that you are that closely tied to nature and the energies of nature that you are that attuned with the life part and the death part. And it's up to you to, I mean, again, this is at least for me, to find out what that connection means, where it is, where it stops and starts within yourself, if it ever stops and starts, and then how to find a balance between being a channel and a medium, because those two things can closely work together. And because like again, I've been using this and dealing with this and learning from this when I was a little kid. My first experiences where I saw a ghost family at the foot of my bed for almost a month. And I wanted to talk to them, and I got frustrated because they wouldn't talk. They would just look at me, not in a mean way or anything. There was a family, a mother, father, a sister, brother, little kids, and a dog, but they would never talk to me. And I wanted to be able to talk to my mother, and I never understood why I couldn't. The understanding comes in these abilities. First off, like any ability, it's given. It's not yours to control. It's not your dead thing to claim. Like to quote a lyric from Colors of the Wind with Pocahontas, it is your thing to commune with, to find harmony with, and balance. You're living astride these things, and these things move in and out of us all the time. Like the Greeks said, the natural world and the supernatural are more natural than people believe it is. And the Greeks, especially the Greeks, lived in such closeness and parallel and respected that relationship that they learned from it. as keenly as possible. They strive to understand everything about it, like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. They had a great understanding of metaphysics, and they applied that to the understanding of the world around them and how being human connects to it, relates to it. So all of that, to me personally, goes into understanding being a channel and medium and the relationship they share and how to use these things in a practice for them and gain skill and to understand how you fit with these things and how they fit with you.
Oh, interesting. So what's like the most surprising or unexpected message you've received while channeling?
Um, the one positive experience that I had a couple years ago, which since then has marked a lot of other positive experiences. I was always afraid to let something in because I was afraid, what if I can't come back? What if it takes permanent parts of me that I can't get back?
Right.
What if it eats parts of me? I didn't know. Um, what I was used to was if something wanted to get in me, it did. And the way I experience it is you're sitting behind it. You can still talk and interact, but it's driving the car mainly.
Right.
You're kind of like in a sleepy, half in and out kind of state. I mean, you're there, you know
Yeah.
what's going on, but it's kind of like, I'd like to make a suggestion, kind of like that
Yeah.
speed, like you're in shock or something.
Yeah.
Um, and then it leaves them at once, and then you have to do self-care with any of these
Yeah.
abilities, like anything else that's going to wear you out, whether you're a medium or you have the sight or you're a psychic or whatever. We have human bodies, we're going to get worn down. So it's important to have positive self-care things to, reboost your energy. I didn't know how to do any of that. But the positive experience I had, there was a seance that I attended with an ex of mine. And her mother loves running seances. She's very good at it. There was an old woman um, spirit that was in the city of St. Louis, and she just had some unfinished stuff to do. And she asked if she could come in and speak through me. And I didn't feel anything malevolent from her at all. It was all benevolent. And I said, sure. And I never had an experience like that. And I was like, this is incredible. This is wonderful. And it's like she sat in a chair that was already prepared for her in front of me. And she'd look back at me occasionally and say, is this okay? Are you all right? She actually asked how I was doing. None of the others did that. She did. And I said, yeah, I'm fine. Go ahead. And in my head, it was, how it feels when you're sitting around your daydreaming, you have an idea.
Yeah.
He would speak to me like that. It's like, I want to say this or ask him this. And I'd be like, okay. And her voice would come out of me. And I'd be like, this is what I want to know. And then the other thing that people notice around me is the air will immediately change. Like it's ionized like before a storm. And there's an electromagnetic pop toll of it. And the temperature does drop. It gets colder.
Oh,
And a person's demeanor instantly shifts and changes. You know it's not them anymore.
right.
And they talked with the old woman, and she had the answers she wanted. Some of them she couldn't get because people didn't know the history of the area anymore. And she was kind of disappointed in that, but she left and said thank you. And it was amazing. And ever since then,
Wow.
I've become so much more comfortable with having the abilities, with being a channel and medium. I love it. I'm like, I'm going to learn everything I possibly can about this because this is incredible. This is amazing. It was the first time in my life I ever felt good about having these abilities occupy me, even in the first place.
Oh, especially when you have
And
a spirit that is mindful of you as well, instead of
yeah,
just trying to
it
take
was
over.
amazing. She was really cool. She was very nice. She was very mannerly. She was really kind. She just wanted to know things that she didn't have a way of knowing anymore.
Oh, wow. I wonder if she's done it before, if that's why she asked you if it was okay, because it seems like she may have.
I wouldn't doubt it. I really wouldn't doubt it.
Well, I have another question for you. If you could collaborate with any author, living or dead, on a Gothic horror project, I know this answer. Who would it be and why?
Edgar Allan Poe and then Mary Shelley. Edgar Allan Poe for all the obvious reasons I said,
Mhm.
and there's a very, very macabre reason. My last reason for Poe to ask him how he truly died, to ask him what
Right.
happened, because nobody seems to know. A lot of people feel
No.
like they've zeroed in on exactly how,
Mhm.
but no one's really understood about it yet. And I would love to ask him, what happened to you, Edgar Allan Poe?
Yeah.
And then Mary Shelley is one of the most amazing women ever to me. That one of the most amazing horror books that we have as a human race came from your gender, not mine,
Mm.
yours. And she was a teenage girl, and she went through all kinds of hardship, and she had 2 of her 3 children died
Yeah.
when they were very, very young. One was even an infant, and she plowed through it and wrote Frankenstein anyway.
Yep. Did. She was absolutely phenomenal. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the horror women back in the day, not to go into a gender bias, you guys, but a lot of the horror women back in the day weren't able to be able to come out and be authors. They had to use pen names, or they had to use something to make it seem like they
Mm-hmm.
were a guy, just so they could get their books pushed through to
Mm-hmm.
publishing places and everything like that. And Mary Shelley was absolutely phenomenal to come up with Frankenstein, because, I mean, a lot of people are like, well, it's Frankenstein. Frankenstein was the monster. No, Frankenstein wasn't the monster. It was Dr. Frankenstein. The monster
It was
was just
Victor.
the monster. Yeah. So a lot of people
Yeah.
don't seem to grasp that concept whenever they're looking at Frankenstein. But it was
Because
very.
Victor really, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying it was very interesting.
Oh yeah, because Victor, he succeeded. He honestly did. The
Mhm.
creature was nice. It was kind, but because of how people treated it, because of the abandonment, because they tried to kill him, how alone it was, it just shows, okay, screw this. Violence, evil. Here we go.
Yeah, sometimes you got to look at the world today and look at how people are being pushed. And if you push and push and push to a point, somebody's going to snap, because you got to think about their
Mm-hmm.
mentality and everything. And unless they have the mentality of brushing it off like a water off a duck's back, then you're going to have that one person that's going to end up snapping and be like, all right, you want me to be the monster? Well, guess what? I'm coming.
Yeah,
So,
living beings can only take so much.
exactly. Exactly. Now, how do you see the Gothic horror and romance genres evolving in the next few years, and what role do you hope to play in that evolution?
I feel that it's going to last for the next 300 years. After that, I'm not sure. And I when I say what I'm about to say, it's not out of haughtiness or arrogance, it's confidence. My role in the Renaissance and the Gothic Romantic period that's here is to help usher it in as one of its great Gothic horror author, romance, and performers, and performers, authors and performers. But I'm not alone. There are a lot of others like me, and they're starting to emerge and they're starting to come out. And I feel like quite a few others are going to be, there's more authors, dancers, actors, movie producers, singers, playwrights, painters, photographers, almost all of the other genres, all of their kinds of medias of art are going to be represented. I don't know who they are, but I feel that a lot of them that are emerging now are the new, well, for lack of a better phrase, like the new guard, like the next
Yeah,
Stephen Kings, the next Clive Barkers, the next all of them.
I can see it. I can totally see it. All right, a few more questions and then we'll be done. So, what's your go-to ritual or practice when writer's block strikes?
I don't have it.
Oh, you've never
I
had
doubt.
it.
No, I doubt I ever will. And again, I don't mean to sound arrogant or haughty. It's not that. It's confidence. Because going back to what I was saying before, I believe a lot of other authors pull from external sources. Again, what's going on in society, their own experiences, what's happening in the world, the way the world is, maybe some of the spirit of the time. Mine's always come from within. I've always been so keenly aware of my relationship to everything I was born with and the talents that I have, that it's literally like a voice speaking to me. And when it wants me to write, I have to. There's pretty much no other choice.
Ah, I
I know
get it.
that might sound kind of strange, but
It doesn't sound strange at all. I get it totally.
oh, okay, okay.
So,
But yeah, that's why.
go ahead. That's why what?
Oh, again, not to sound arrogant or haughty, but I doubt I'll ever experience it because I feel like this is a little bit of a terrible thing to admit, but I I have ideas from genres that I don't want to write in. But I don't want to be a sci-fi author. And not that I don't love Mary Shelley because she's the grandmother of science fiction and science horror fiction, but I don't have any designs to be a science fiction author yet. I've got like 13 ideas for it. And I'm going to go ahead and do it. And whatever happens, happens with it just to get it out of me. Because
Yeah.
something in me is wanting me to do it. So I'm going to do it.
When you got that little
But
nudge, you got to go forward.
oh, yeah, I just have this inexhaustible well of ideas and stories that come out of me.
Oh. If your life as a Gothic author had a soundtrack, what 3 songs would definitely be on it?
Oh, that is really, really hard. Um, Bauhaus, Bela Lugosi's Dead, because that's my favorite Gothic band and favorite Gothic song. Um, Vivaldi's Autumn Chorus, and Wednesday 13, The Ghost of Vincent Price. I adore Vincent Price so
He
much.
was great. It was so great.
Incredible. Simply incredible. Love the
Yes.
man. He was born in St. Louis. He's a Gemini like me. His birthday is 2 days after mine. And he embodied horror and terror and the
Yeah.
romanticism of it, and such a class and mystique with it as to be found nowhere else. He's just unbelievable.
He is. He was
Love
absolutely
Vincent Price.
amazing in his time.
Oh
So
yeah.
sad when he passed on. Oh my gosh. One of the
Mhm.
great ones. If y'all don't know who Vincent Price is, y'all look him up. You'll find so much on him. You definitely will. Last
House on
question.
Haunted Hill.
Yes. Yes, that was one of the best ones. That was one of the best
My
ones.
favorite Vincent Price is the House on Haunted Hill.
What's the spookiest location you've ever visited for research or inspiration?
Ooh. Hmm. That's difficult. Um, I'd have to say on Main Street, St. Charles, in St. Charles, Missouri. Main Street used to be a gallows a couple hundred years ago,
Oh, wow.
and there are underground graves that the cobblestone streets have been paved over these graves. And there are so many areas of Main Street that's haunted. And there was this one area that friends of mine dared me to go down into because there were stories that there was a very awful spirit down there from like the Civil War that was a murderous spirit. And they dared me to go down there because they knew I was an empath. And like a fool, I went down there. I should not have gone down there.
Oh, wow.
I um I saw in my mind's eye an old man choking a little girl that was dressed like in like a Victorian gown. And I myself started choking, and it was really cold, and I felt his malice, and it was almost like his hands were around my throat,
Oh,
choking me. And I had to get out of there, and so I did.
right. Oh my
But that was
God.
one of the most haunting experiences.
I bet. Oh my gosh. And they gave you inspiration for a particular book or just something that,
Um, for a story that I wrote a long time ago, a short story about a ghost, the only one that I've written. Um, I believe I'll write more, but I dearly love vampires. They're my favorite supernatural. But obviously, for my medium series, I'm going to write a lot about ghosts and spirits, which I've been amassing a lot of information, everything I can about the Victorian period and the Victorian Gothic period in England. I've always loved that period. I've known quite a bit about it going into it, but I've learned so much more, and I'm going to use it all for my medium series.
oh,
Mm.
awesome. Well, William, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find your books.
I can be found on Facebook under the name William Bove, and a lot of my author updates are posted there and on Instagram. And my email is williambove@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Don't go anywhere. I'll talk to
Thank
you
you so much,
afterwards.
Shaw, for having me.
Oh, it was so
Thank you
fun. It
so
was so
much.
fun. Oh, of course, of course. Everybody that's watching, thank you guys for watching. Tune in next week. We're going to have our cold case with Centrator Hill and Mark E. Fultz. We're going to be doing the cold case again for true crime. So y'all come in and join in. Not enjoy. Oh my gosh. Join in and enjoy. Yeah, you can enjoy it too. Until next time, stay free, stay safe. Always do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Until next time. See you guys later. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Switch it on and come along. Haunted houses all night long. Gaming streams and ghostly scenes. Just chatting with the in-betweens. IRL, she's on the case. Finding spirits in each place. Every game she plays with flair. Geeks, paranormal, she's there. Ghosts and games all night. Geeks, paranormal's bright. Just chatting feels alright. Trying to stream, it's quite a sight. From the haunted house she flies, gaining worlds under the skies. Chat and laugh, let's have a blast. Geeks paranormal here at last. Ghosts and games all night. Geeks paranormal's bright. Just chatting feels alright. Try to stream, it's quite a sight. From the haunted house she flies, gaining worlds under the skies. Chat and laugh, let's have a blast. Geeks paranormal here at last. Ghosts and games all night. Geeks paranormal's bright. Just chatting feels alright. Try to stream, it's quite a sight. In the dark she finds the light. Streams so fun, she's out of sight. Every ghost and gaming fight. Geeks paranormal shines so bright. In the dark, she finds the light. Streams so fun, she's out of sight. Every ghost and gaming fight. Geeks paranormal shines so bright. Ghosts and games all night. Geeks paranormal's bright. Just chatting feels alright. Try to stream, it's quite a sight. It's quite a sight.